Good afternoon all. Welcome to the lecture of functional analysis. We'll just have a look on the topics which we have seen in the last lecture, and then later we will go for today's lecture. Is anyone remembering what we have seen in the last lecture? Yes? Whether anyone from students can tell me what we have seen in the last lecture? Do you remember? In the last lecture, actually, we have proved an important equality named as parallelogram law. The law states that sum of squares of sides of a parallelogram is equal to sum of squares of its diagonal. Therefore, with this geometrical representation, we have seen that the parallelogram law is norm square of x plus y plus norm square of x minus y is 2 times norm square of x plus norm square of y. Okay, later after this we have seen many examples that in the Banach space L1n parallelogram law is not true, that of for L2n parallelogram law holds. In general, for LP spaces parallelogram law do not hold. Similarly, I have given an homework to prove that in LPn spaces parallelogram law do not hold. Okay, I hope you have done the homework which I have given you in the last lecture. Later we have proved one important identity named with polarization identity, which states that for any two vectors x and y in the Hilbert space, we have to prove that the 4 times inner product xy is given with this right hand part. Okay, is the screen visible to everyone? Whatever I am presenting, is it visible to everyone? Anyone? Yes, please respond so that I can understand.
Yes, ma'am, visible.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, therefore this is a polarization identity. Actually, this identity tells us that inner product can be given with the help of norm, defined on the corresponding spaces. Therefore, if you look at the right hand side part, what this right hand side part involved with? This involved with norm function, right? That is 4 different types of norm expressions are involved on the right, and whichever combinedly will give us, we are going to define this as an inner product of the two vectors x and y, and we have proved this with the help of a relation between norm and inner product we have seen, right? Therefore, we have completed this identity in the last lecture, and we have moved on to this theorem. The theorem statement is, if norm be a norm on a Banach space B, then there exists an inner product on B such that inner product x with x is equal to norm square of x for all x in B if and only if the norm satisfies parallelogram law. In the simple way, the theorem tells us that if an inner product, which is where the relation between inner product and norm is given by inner product xx is equal to norm square of x, then there exists an inner product if and only if the norm satisfies parallelogram law. Okay, norm satisfies parallelogram law. I request the students to please come on time. Some students are joining. Okay, right? That is, whenever I want to say that there exists an inner product, then it is sufficient to prove that it satisfies the parallelogram law, which is true in the reverse manner as well. And where the inner product involved in this theorem was given by the polarization identity. Polarization identity is an identity just now we have seen, right? Now, in the first part, what to assume? We have an inner product, and the aim is to show that the norm satisfies the parallelogram law. But already assuming inner product on the Banach space B, this relation between inner product and norm is given by inner product x with x is norm square of x, and we have proved this relation, this norm satisfies parallelogram law and polarization identity both. Okay, therefore one part of the proof was readily true. Now it remains to prove the reverse part of the theorem. What to assume in the reverse part of the theorem? We should assume that the norm defined on the Banach space satisfies the parallelogram law, that is this statement, and we want to prove that the corresponding the corresponding inner product is an inner product. That is, this polarization identity is an inner product defined on V. Okay. Therefore, let us start for today's lecture. Okay, we will start with the proof. What we should do in the reverse part of the proof, we should conversely assume that the norm on given Banach space satisfies parallelogram law and defines for any xy in B the inner product as. How this inner product is defined now? With the help of polarization identity. This was given in the statement itself. In this case, the inner product is unique and is given by the polarization identity. I will just recall the identity we have proved in the last lecture. The identity, the inner product as, how it was given? 4 times inner product x with y is norm square of x plus y minus norm square of x minus y plus I times norm square of x plus iy minus I times norm square of x minus iy. Okay. Here I will call this as number 2, and whatever here we have proved that it satisfies the parallelogram law. Shall I write parallelogram law in short here? Norm square of x plus y plus norm square of x minus y is 2 times norm square of x plus 2 times norm square of y. Because this is an assumption that parallelogram law is satisfies. Therefore, I have written the parallelogram law. And the second assumption is inner product is given by this quantity. Now we want to verify that this is an inner product. That is, it satisfies all the properties of the inner product. That is to prove that the given space is to prove that B is Hilbert space. B is Hilbert space. Therefore, what should I prove actually? That is to prove that this inner product given in 2 satisfies all conditions of inner product. Therefore, we will make ourselves very clear again how many conditions to prove. How many conditions to prove? I will write all the conditions one by one. That is, first condition to prove is inner product xx is greater equal by 0. Second condition to prove is inner product xx is equal to 0 if and only if x is equal to 0. Third condition is conjugate symmetry. That is, inner product xy conjugate is inner product y with x. Fourth is actually a property regarding the linear combination in the first coordinate, but here we will separate it into 2 parts. First I will write with respect to addition. Okay, therefore this to prove is inner product x plus y with z is inner product x with z and inner product y with z. Number 5 we will prove is inner product alpha x with y is alpha times inner product x with y. Actually, combining these two, the statement is alpha x plus beta y inner product with z is alpha times inner product x with z बिना का धर्मे you should come on time. A lecture I have announced at 2 p.m. right? Okay. Here I am. Alpha times inner product x with z is beta times inner product y with z. Therefore, instead of this one statement, we will try to prove two different statements, because if we look at our equation number 2, the inner product, this is quite lengthy expression. Therefore we will just prove this condition separately with respect to addition and scalar multiplication. Let us go to prove all the conditions one by one. First we will prove that first condition, inner product xx is greater equal by 0. Inner product xx is, I will just check, is the recording on? Yeah. Inner product xx is equal to 0. Now what we have to find? Inner product xx is equals to 0 means in this equation number 2 we will replace y by x. We will replace y by x so that it will be an inner product x with x. Okay, is everything clear up to this? My voice, am I audible? Is the screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Now here we will just replace the y vector with x vector. Okay, therefore I will write the vector inner product xx as, no doubt it is 4 times inner product xx. Okay, therefore this is inner product x plus x, sorry, norm square x plus x minus norm square x minus x plus I times norm square x plus ix minus I times norm square x minus ix. Okay, wherever y is there, the y we have replaced by the vector x. Therefore this is 2x, norm square of 2x, 2 I will take out of the norm, which is actually 4. Therefore this is 4 times norm square of x. This is 0. Okay, and this is plus I. Now what we will do, we will take x common and we will write 1 plus I x, norm square of 1 plus I x. Same thing we will repeat for the second norm. This is 1 minus I x. Okay, now these are the scalars, rather the complex scalar. Therefore the complex scalars must be taken out with the modulus. Therefore the term we will have is 4 times norm square of x plus I times this I am taking out with the modulus. Therefore this is modulus 1 plus I bracket square into norm square of x. Same thing here, modulus 1 minus I brackets modulus square 1 minus I into norm square of x. But what do you think, what are the modulus values of 1 plus I and 1 minus I? Let us try to find out. Modulus 1 plus I. Okay, whenever we are finding the modulus a plus ib, this is under root a square plus b square, no? Therefore here it is under root 1 square plus 1 square. Therefore shall I write this is under root 2. Same thing for modulus 1 minus I. Modulus 1 minus I will be 1 square. B value is minus 1 bracket square. Therefore again it is root 2. Therefore we will substitute modulus of 1 plus I as root 2. Modulus of 1 minus I as root 2. But we have square already. Left hand side is 4 times inner product x with x. Therefore this is 4 times norm square of x. Okay. Therefore shall I write this is 2I norm square of x minus 2I norm square of x. Right now? Because both the norm values of 1 plus I and 1 minus I are same. Therefore these two will get cancelled and we remains with 4 times inner product x with x is 4 times norm square of x, which actually gives us inner product xx, inner product xx is equal to norm square of x for all x in B, for all x in B. But we know norm value is always non-negative, therefore the condition is automatically going to hold. The condition is automatically going to hold. May I say rather first and second condition both holds. First is inner product xx is 0, inner product xx is 0 if and only if x is equal to 0. Okay, therefore here I will write thus inner product xx, inner product xx is greater equal by 0. The reason is norm is always non-negative. Okay, and what we want to prove in the second? We want to prove in the second step that inner product xx is equal to 0 implies and implied by x is equal to 0. Now according to the statement we have proved just now, inner product xx is equal to 0 implies and implied by norm square of x is equal to 0. Norm square of x is equal to 0 will give us norm x is equal to 0. Norm x is equal to 0 implies and implied will give us x is equal to 0. Therefore, the first two conditions are true. Which two? This we have proved na. Inner product xx is equal to 0 and inner product xx is greater equal by 0 and equal to 0 if and only if x is equal to 0. Right? Now we will go for third, conjugate symmetry. In the third step, we want to prove the conjugate symmetry. In the conjugate symmetry, we will write inner product xy conjugate is inner product of y with x. Okay. Therefore, first we will write the definition 4 times inner product xy is equal to norm square of x plus y minus norm square of x minus y plus I times norm square of x plus iy minus I times norm square of x minus iy. Now what we will do, we will take the complex conjugate on both the sides and we will check whether it will give us a value inner product y with x. Now while taking a complex conjugate on the right, this first term real, this first term norm square of x plus y is a real term because no imaginary involved. This is also real. Okay, this is an imaginary quantity, this is also an imaginary quantity. But the question is about these two values. What about these two values? And let me tell you, both the values norm square of x plus iy and norm square of x minus iy are real. Therefore, taking the conjugate means this I will replace by minus I and this minus I we will replace by plus I. If you want to know the reason why this norm square of x plus iy is real, I will show you with this different color pen. Norm square of x plus iy and norm square of x minus iy are real terms. Okay, why? Let us check. Consider. Let us prove for one so that for the remaining we can understand very easily. Therefore, norm square of x plus iy, we know that this is inner product x plus iy with inner product x plus iy. Okay, let us use the linearity property with respect to the first variable. Therefore, this is x into inner product x with x plus iy plus I times inner product y with x plus iy. Okay, now it's a time to use the linearity, conjugate linearity with respect to second variable. Means the scalars are taken out with the conjugates, right? Therefore, this is inner product xx is the first term, I is the scalar, we will take it out with the conjugate. We remain with inner product x with y. Next, I into inner product y with x. This is again taken with conjugate inner product y with y. Okay, therefore this is this term is norm square of x, no doubt. Okay, and my I bar is nothing but minus I. This is inner product x with y plus I times inner product y with x. I bar is minus I. If I multiply by I, 2 minus I, this is minus I square and minus I square is plus 1. Therefore, shall I write directly this is norm square. Okay, what I am doing? Multiplying this I by I bar. I into I bar. What is I into I bar? I bar is minus I. Minus I square is the term and we know minus I square is y. Therefore, I am writing directly norm square of y. Now, what I will do? This middle term we will replace. Norm square of x minus I times inner product xy plus I times inner product xy conjugate plus norm square of y. Right, assuming this as an inner product, we are showing this is real. Okay, therefore this term is actually minus I into inner product xy minus inner product xy conjugate plus norm square of y. Therefore, this is of the type z minus z bar, and we know z minus z bar is the term 2 times 2I times imaginary part of inner product xy plus norm square of y. I'll just make you clear. If suppose I am writing z is a plus ib, so that z bar will be a minus ib. Then what is z minus z bar? Z minus z bar will be 2ib, right? Z minus z bar is 2ib, but 2ib is the imaginary part, but that imaginary part is always real, no? Therefore here we will check what is the term norm square of x. I into I is I square, with a negative this is plus 1. Therefore in all we get 2 times imaginary part of inner product xy plus norm square of y. This is what a value of norm square of x plus iy. Imaginary part is always a real term. Therefore this quantity in all will give us that norm square of x plus iy is a real term. Okay. Norm square of x is actually, you may check for this, no? Norm square of x is inner product x with x, which is equal to inner product xx conjugate. Therefore this is a real term. Therefore first term is real, second real, third is also real. Therefore in all the quantity is real. Therefore one can say that both the terms norm square of x plus iy and norm square of x minus iy are the real terms. Now we want to take the complex conjugate to this equation in order to prove this identity, right? Therefore taking a complex conjugate means what? We will replace this I by minus I and this minus I by I. Okay, right. Now I will just change, taking conjugate I will write. Okay, let us take a complex conjugate on both sides of inner product, right? Therefore what will happen? This is 4 times inner product x with y conjugate is equal to norm square of x plus y minus norm square of x minus y. There is no effect on the first 2 terms. Only changes this I will be replaced by minus I and this minus I will be replaced by plus I. Okay. Therefore here what I will write? Minus I norm square of x plus iy. Minus I now will write plus I norm square of x minus iy. Now we will, actually our aim is to prove that this is inner product y with x. Therefore we will try to bring all the y terms first and x terms later. Therefore let us arrange accordingly. This is norm square of y plus x. Okay, here I want to take y first. Therefore let us take a negative common, and by taking that negative common, negative scalar is taken out with the modulus. Therefore there is no change. Therefore this is norm square of y minus x. Okay, what happened here? If I want to take y first, is of the type y plus ix we want to adjust, no? Therefore what I will do, I will take I term common. Therefore we will remain with, yes, this is plus 1. Now that plus 1 one may consider minus I square. Therefore may I say here we remain with y minus ix. Let us check. If I multiply by I, first term is iy, second term is minus I square x, and minus I square is plus 1, therefore it is x. Okay, same thing we will do for the last term, I into, okay, minus I will take common. Therefore we will remain with y plus ix. What we have done? We have tried to adjust all the terms y first and x later, because our aim is to prove that this is an inner product of y with x. Okay, now let us check what will happen. Therefore here it is norm square of y plus x minus norm square of y minus x. Now this scalar I is taken out with the modulus outside the norm. Therefore this is minus I into mod I bracket square into norm square of y minus ix plus I times minus mod I square into y plus ix bracket square. But what are the modulus values of plus I and minus I? What is modulus plus I? Modulus plus I is 0 square plus 1 square, that is 1. Similarly, mod of minus I is also 1. Which formula we are using? Modulus of z, modulus of a plus ib is under root a square plus b square we are using. As there is no real term, therefore a quantity is 0. Therefore both the values are 1, mod I square and mod of minus I square, right? Therefore we have with us norm square of y plus x minus norm square of y minus x minus I norm square of y minus ix plus I norm square of y plus ix. Now we will just rearrange the term. This term will take fast. Therefore this is norm square of y plus ix minus norm square of y minus ix plus I times norm square of y plus ix. This term I am writing first. Now we will write minus I norm square of y minus ix, right? Therefore this in all will contribute 4 times inner product y with x, and we have started with 4 times inner product x with y conjugate, and we have proved that this is 4 times inner product y with x. Hence we can write inner product x y conjugate is inner product y with x. That is, if I define inner product by the polarization identity, then conjugate symmetry holds good. Okay, any doubt up to this, students? Whether if any student is having a doubt up to this, you can ask me. Yes, if the students were having any doubt, you can ask me. Till this. Otherwise, I will continue. Can anybody tell me whether if you are having any doubt or not? Shall I continue to the next point? At least one student has to reply me so that I can continue. I hope I am clearly audible. Okay, yes. Instead of chat, it will be better if you speak with me. Okay. Now the third condition we have verified. Now what's the job? Our aim is to go for the fourth condition, that is to prove that inner product x plus y with z is equal to inner product x with z plus inner product y with z. I have just made you clear why we are proving this linearity separately with respect to addition and scalar multiplication, because as we look at the definition of polarization identity, this is little bit complicated. Therefore proving linear combination directly, it will be better for us to prove with respect to addition first, linearity with respect to addition first, and then with respect to scalar multiplication. Now here we are proving with respect to addition first. Okay, therefore what will be our definition? Shall I write the definition first here? Inner product, we know that 4 times inner product x with y is norm square x plus y minus norm square x minus y plus I times norm square x plus iy minus I times norm square x minus iy is our definition. We want to prove this. Therefore we will just try to replace this x by x plus y and y by z so that we can construct this left hand side. Okay, therefore shall I write replacing x by x plus y and y by z so that we will construct the left hand side. Therefore we left hand side becomes, this is 4 x replaced by x plus y, y will replace by z. Accordingly we will do on the right hand side. Therefore this is x plus y plus z minus x plus y minus z plus I times x plus y plus iz minus I norm square x plus y minus iz. Okay, now the job is to find out the value on the right, that is these 4 norms. Now in order to find out the values of these 4 norms and to prove it is equal to inner product x with z and inner product y with z, what we will do, we will try to use the assumption, that is parallelogram law. Therefore in order to write the parallelogram law, we want 2 vectors. Therefore what we will do, we will try to construct this first norm with the help of parallelogram law. But here to use a parallelogram law we want 2 vectors. Therefore what we will do, writing this x plus y plus z as an addition of x plus y plus x plus z by 2 and y plus z by 2. Right, if I add these 2 terms, it will be x plus y plus z, and we will use the parallelogram law, writing x plus y plus z as x plus z by 2 and y plus z by 2 and applying parallelogram law. What will happen? First norm will be constructed applying parallelogram law. Okay, let us write what's the parallelogram law. I think you remember norm square of x plus y. I will change the color of my pen. Here I will write the law, norm square of x plus y plus norm square of x minus y is 2 times norm square of x plus 2 times norm square of y. This is the parallelogram law. Now this parallelogram law we are writing for these 2 vectors, right? Therefore let us write for the 2 vectors x plus z by 2 and y plus z by 2. Okay, therefore this is, first we have an addition, therefore x plus z by 2 added with y plus z by 2 norm square added with norm square of x plus z by 2 minus y plus z by 2 norm square. This is the left hand side. Right hand side is 2 times norm square of x plus z by 2 added with 2 times norm square of y plus z by 2. Right? Let us simplify the statement. What the statement says, this bracket is nothing but norm square of x plus y plus z. Here plus z by 2 minus z by 2 will cancel. This is norm square of x minus y. On the right it will be as it is, 2 times norm square of x plus z by 2 plus 2 times norm square of y plus z by 2. Okay, this is what we have found the first term. Now similarly we will try to construct the second. What to do, the change in the second? Here x plus y plus z we have written as x plus z by 2 and y plus z by 2. Similarly what we will do, here we will write similarly x plus y minus z we write as x minus z by 2 and y minus z by 2. Right now, therefore if I add, it will be x plus y minus z simply, and repeating the same process, shall I write directly? This is norm square of x plus y minus z, norm square of x minus z plus norm square of x minus y is equals to 2 times norm square of x minus z by 2 plus 2 times norm square of y minus z by 2. Okay, therefore here we got the 2 values. We will just rewrite the 2 equations. These 2 equations I just want to rewrite. or I'll rewrite this one. From this we will get the value of norm square of x plus y minus z as shifting this term on the right. Therefore this is 2 times norm square of x minus z by 2, 2 times norm square of y minus z by 2 subtracted with norm square of x minus y. Okay, let me call this to be number 3. Now from this star I'll write. From star also we'll try to find out the value of norm square of x plus y plus z is equal to, again this term we will shift on the right. So this is 2 times x plus z by 2, 2 times y plus z by 2 minus norm square of x minus y. I'll call this to be equation number 4. Okay, the two values we have obtained, norm square of x plus y plus z, norm square of x plus y minus z. And if we look at this equation carefully, I think I have not given any numbering to this. I think it is better to give 3 to this. And here I will write 4. Here I will write 5. Fine. Okay. Now looking at this 3, we have found the values of this first norm and second norm. And what is the relation between the two norms? It's a subtraction. Therefore, we will take a subtraction of these two equations, right? Therefore, subtracting 4 from 5. What's the equation? Norm square of x plus y plus z subtracted with norm square of x plus y minus z. Our right hand side will be 2 times norm square of x plus z by 2, 2 times norm square of y plus z by 2. This term will get cancelled, no? And we remain with minus 2 times norm square of x minus z by 2 minus 2 times norm square of y minus z by 2 square. Okay, therefore we have obtained actually half part of this equation number 3. We have obtained this half part, no? From this to this we have obtained. Now we want to do the remaining. Now if we just look at the remaining, the only change is z is replaced by iz and multiplier is I. Therefore we will just take the help of this equation and we will do the corresponding changes. Therefore I will call this as 6, say. Now what I will do in changes in this 6, we will replace z by iz, replace z by iz and multiply by I. Simultaneously we will do both the operations. Therefore this is multiplying by I. Wherever z present, we will replace it by iz. Oh sorry, it's negative. Norm square of x plus y minus iz. Now what are the changes on the right also? Multiplier is I throughout. This is x plus iz by 2 plus 2i y plus iz by 2 norm square minus 2i norm square of x minus iz by 2 minus 2i norm square y minus iz by 2. And let me call this is to be number 7. Now what to do? We have found first half and second half of the equation number 3. Now we will just add this in order to generate our required inner product. Therefore what is my next step? Adding 6 and 7. adding 6 and 7. What is the left hand side? Left hand side is nothing but 4 times inner product x plus y with z. This will be my left hand side. Now what is the value? 4 times inner product x plus. Actually we have constructed this term. Therefore the left hand side will be 4 times inner product x plus y with z. Okay, and which is equal to what are the changes on the right? We have to add all those parts. While adding, we will take a care that the terms involving x and z we will put it in one bracket, and terms involving y and z we will put it in the another bracket. Therefore in a first bracket I will collect all. 2 we will take throughout common. Okay, therefore the terms with x and z first. Therefore this is norm square x plus z by 2. Second is minus norm square x minus z by 2. Here I will take plus I times x plus iz upon 2 minus I x minus iz upon 2. All the terms with x and z I have taken in one bracket. Similarly, we will take all the terms with y and z in another bracket. This will be y plus z by 2, norm square y plus z by 2 minus norm square y minus z by 2 plus I times norm square y plus iz upon 2 minus I times y minus iz upon 2. Right? Now look at this right hand side very carefully, and by the definition may I say the first bracket is the definition of inner product x with z by 2. That of second bracket is the definition of inner product y with z by 2. Therefore here by definition we can very easily say 4 times inner product x plus y with z is equal to, this is 2 as it is, this is 4 times inner product x with z by 2, the first bracket. Second bracket is 4 times inner product y with z upon 2. Right? Therefore 4 I will cancel throughout, and we will just observe what is remaining with us. 4 if I cancel throughout, this is inner product x plus y with z is equal to 2 times inner product x with z by 2 plus 2 times inner product y with z by 2. Right? But still the idea is not clear that whether this gives us a linearity or not. Therefore I will call this as next equation number, I think 8. What's the number we have used? 7 we have used at last. Therefore this will be 8. This will be 8. Now in order to find out the actual result in this equation number 8, we will put x and 0, x0 and y0 respectively. We are not putting both at a time 0. First I am putting x is equals to 0. Therefore what will happen if I put x is 0? This is inner product y with z is. What is the first inner product? This, if I keep x is 0, the first inner product value is 0. We remain with 2 times inner product y with z by 2. Okay. Similarly, if I put y is equals to 0, this is inner product x with z. Okay, this second inner product will 0. First will give us a value 2 times inner product x with z by 2. Therefore, just put both the values on the right hand side of equation number 8, and which gives us inner product x plus y with z is equal to 2 times y with z is y with z. 2 times inner product x with z by 2 is inner product x with z. Therefore, this is inner product x with z plus inner product y with z. And hence it is a proof of linearity property with respect to addition. if you are having any doubt on this, you can please ask me till this. Now last step was remaining actually to prove this linearity property with respect to scalar multiplication. Now till now, whichever the examples we have seen, in all those examples we have seen that proving the fourth property of scalar multiplication is an easier job. But in this case, as there is a definition given by the polarization identity, which is quite complicated terms, therefore proving linearity with respect to scalar multiplication is bit difficult job. We will do it case wise, okay, by assuming the different values of the scalars. If you are having a doubt till this, you can ask me. Otherwise, I just continue with the next proof. Whether anyone having a doubt till this? Okay, now you just look at the last condition to prove. I think this is fifth one, and our aim is to prove that inner product alpha x with y is alpha times inner product x with y for any scalar alpha. For any scalar alpha. For any scalar alpha in C, no doubt, right? Now, if what will happen if we use the definition as it is directly in order to prove the result? Let me write the definition first. Actually, this is no need to prove, no need to write it in the proof. Therefore, I will just change the color of my pen. 4 times inner product x with y is norm square of x plus y minus norm square of x minus y plus norm square of x plus iy, I times, minus I times norm square of x minus iy. If we replace x by alpha x in the definition, alpha x by alpha x in the definition, then this is norm square of alpha x plus y minus alpha x minus y plus I times alpha x plus iy minus I times alpha x minus iy. Therefore, if we just look at the right part of this identity, we cannot take alpha common anyhow. But actually in the proof, our aim is to prove that alpha is taken out of the inner product. Therefore, using the definition as it is will not work for the proof of this last part of the result. Therefore, to prove this, we are going to make use of the different technology, that we are proving this result by considering the different values of alpha cases. That is, first we will consider alpha is integer, then we will consider alpha is rational number, then we will consider alpha is real number, and then we will go finally for considering alpha is complex number. Therefore, this, to prove this fifth point, we have to consider 4 different cases, okay, and this last part we will take in the next lecture, considering 4 different cases of the alpha values. Therefore, I will just stop for today for this lecture. If anyone is having a difficulty till this, you can just ask me. Otherwise, we can conclude. Yeah, students, is anyone having a difficulty? Then you please ask me.